Hey everybody, it's Professor Harriman, and today I'm going to talk to you about formatting in Final Draft 11. Now I'm going to start with the title page. If we go up here, you'll see that it'll bring up our title page. Now, when you first start a project, it's going to give you a blank template for this, and it'll explain how to fill that out. The underlined part is going to be your title, then it will say written by, that's where you put your name. It'll say based on, if any. Now this is based off an original short story that I wrote a while ago, so I have that there. And then down at the bottom, you can add your address and phone number, which I'll do after the script is finished. Now, this script is a Western film that I've been working on for quite a while. Like I said, it's based off a short story I wrote quite a long time for some other class, and I felt like it would be an interesting adaptation. Now, the first thing we're going to see on the page is scene 1. That's our scene heading. It's going to tell us what scene that it is in, so then later on when we're editing and when we're shooting, we can shoot each scene sequentially, or typically it'll be shot out of sequence, but then we can add it back in sequence in the editing room. Next is fade in. This tells us that we are going to be fading into our story, and at the end of the script or at the end of a scene, this is done, in the scenes case, it's done a lot in Tarantino's films, where he'll fade out and then we'll get a title card explaining the chapter and then we'll fade back in. So if we're doing a transition like that, or we're doing a beginning a movie, end of movie scenario, then we're going to have a fade in or out. Next we have our setting. This tells us exterior or interior or exterior. Exterior here meaning we're outdoors. The setting is the town of Antonio, and it's going to tell us the time of day, which is night. Next, I have a big descriptive paragraph which tells the reader how our story begins and what's going to happen. Next, if there's ever going to be a specific action that needs to happen, I like to do this, and I'll indent and then I'll give a very clear roll opening credits for an example. And then it also will say after those credits roll, the screen displays the year 1889 in the very center. Next, I have another scene heading, which tells us that we're moving into a different part. So that first scene, we see all of this happens right here, then the credits roll, and then we have the year of 1889. The next scene is in the interior of Sam and George's home in the morning. We get a description, and then we have right here some dialogue. Now if you'll notice right here it says in parentheses VO, that stands for voiceover. And so if we read up here, we have an extreme close-up of Georgia Ames' eyes, and they move side to side as she reads this letter. Okay, so that means that Sam Ames will be doing a voiceover, which is in Georgia's head as she reads the letter. This big paragraph is read, and then it says that the camera cuts to the letter, and the voiceover continues, and it keeps explaining. It cuts back to her, yada yada yada, and etc. And so that's essentially the format that you're going to want to follow. If you're going to have any directions, those are going to be indented all the way to the left. Dialogues, the character will be indented in the very center, and then you can press enter right after that, and it'll bring you to where the dialogue can start. Final Draft 11 is very helpful in formatting, is what I've come to know. And so then I continue on with that same format, and that's how you're going to format a screenplay from Final Draft 11.